You're about to learn the 6 dumbest mistakes smart people make when hiring a website designer. But first off, who is this video for? So this video is for anyone who is a marketing manager. That could be anything from the CMO of the company to a newly hired marketing intern for a small business who's been tasked with finding a new website. This is also for anyone who's a business owner. So if you own the business and you're thinking of upgrading your company's website, this definitely is a video for you. And then if you're a website administrator, meaning you're in charge of updating the website regularly, this video is for you as well. So who am I? My name is Victor Thomas, and I own a company called Thomas Digital, and we help small and medium-sized businesses make custom WordPress websites. And so basically this is a video that most website designers don't want you to see. And the reason is because most website designers like to think of themselves as like all-powerful wizards, and they use very confusing language and terminology basically to intimidate clients into thinking that what they're doing is much more complex than it is, and just kind of obscuring what the process is and really what the result is. And so in many ways this will kind of shed some light on some of the do's and don'ts of what goes on within hiring a website designer, as well as working with a website designer, and really what you should expect. So without further ado, here are the 6 dumbest mistakes. Mistake number 1. So paying too little. One thing I often see people do is they just think about how much is this website going to cost, and that's really kind of all they think about. So they're thinking, well, if I only spend not so much money using a Squarespace or a Wix or a GoDaddy website builder or whatever, I don't have to spend as much money, and that's money I get to save, therefore I should do that. And what I like to tell people is, Warren Buffett, who's widely considered to be one of the greatest investors of all time, he says that the most important thing when it comes to investing is opportunity cost. So what is opportunity cost? Well, a lot of people, when they think about investing or putting money into something, they just think about their return on investment. So I have some money, I need a website. I'm going to choose a Squarespace website. I'm going to get a Squarespace website, and it cost me less money, therefore I got more profit. Or I got a Squarespace website and it's bringing in extra money, therefore that was a good idea. But what opportunity cost would say is it's not just about that one idea, it's about all the other ideas, everything else that you could do with that money, and which one would bring the best overall profit among all the different possibilities. And so that's really what it comes to when it comes to opportunity cost. And so it's not so much about how much money you spend for a website, it's how much money that you'll actually get back if you get the right website. Another thing that people don't think about is just their time. Like, what is the value of your time? So when it comes to money, it's generally speaking, you either have to pay via time or you pay via money. And so the less money you spend, the more time you put in. And it might not be your time, it might be your employee's time, but you're paying that employee an hourly salary. So at the end of the day, that's going to cost something as well. An analogy I like to give is like with IKEA. So for example, the reason their furniture is so inexpensive is because they're passing over a lot of the work that other furniture manufacturers would do onto you, such as they don't have many employees in the actual warehouse. You have to schlep things around. They don't pay for trucking to get from point A to point B because you have to do that. It's all in a flat pack, so there's less space. And then it's your job to actually assemble the furniture. And so using a site like Squarespace or Wix or what have you is a similar value proposition, and they're just asking you to trade your time for the money. But then the challenge is like you're probably not an expert marketer or an expert website designer, and so therefore you're going to have a less quality product, just like you would assembling a piece of IKEA furniture. Mistake number 2, paying too much. So let me share with you a dirty little secret that most website designers don't want you to know. All websites, especially like the front end, are all made from the same stuff, which is HTML, CSS, and some JavaScript. And I'm talking about every website on the web. So like apple.com, or the most expensive website that is available, if you look in the code, it's just CSS and HTML. And really that's it. Like if you look at, like, this is a cheap template that you can buy, it's the same type of code in the back end. So when it comes to website design, it's really not like there's some kind of magic special secret code that makes it a quote unquote real website when you hire like a real website design company. You're really just paying for, well-developed code and well thought out design. And so a lot of the challenges are that sometimes people will think, oh well, I need to work with like a really large agency because they'll totally give me a much better website. And when you go to those large agencies, you'll see a lot of people having fun and sitting in really expensive real estate office and playing ping pong. And if you're wondering who's subsidizing all of that, it's your inflated fee for paying for that website. I mean, that's where the money is going to. And so typically what happens when you work with a large agency is you get a slick salesman who kind of sells you on the idea of getting a website, but then the actual person that you're working with is typically just a junior level employee, and that's going to be your main day-to-day point person and contact person for the site. And so what I would recommend above all when it comes to working with larger agencies is just focus on the result. At the end of the day, it's just, do you like their work, right? Do you like their portfolio? Because that's the only thing you should really judge a company by. And don't be fooled by experts, because most expert opinions or people you believe are higher up are just a pure lie. And don't take my word for it, but like wine tasting, they've done studies where like the best wine tasters in the world can't tell the difference between some of the highest rated wines and just regular wine. Same thing, like Stradivarius violins that cost like $14 million. Like expert world-class violinists can't tell the difference between those and modern-made violins when blindfolded. Warren Buffett bet $1 million that a regular index fund could beat hedge funds over a 10-year period, and he won. He was right. So like expert opinions are a little bit overrated. So at the end of the day, just trust yourself, and the question you should be asking yourself is, do I like the portfolio? Do I like the work that this company has been putting out? Mistake number 3, hiring a designer to build your website. So that might sound a little odd, but what I mean is when hiring a website designer or designer is just someone who is an artist, because an artist is not a business person. And so my question to you is like, what's the primary purpose of a website? Is it to look beautiful? No. Improve user experience? No. Win awards? Uh-uh. The main primary purpose of a website, assuming you're running a commercial enterprise, is to make money, right? And that's the most important thing. And that's where like a designer kind of doesn't get it, right? They just want it to look pretty. And what they really need to understand, or what most people really need to understand, is just that website conversion happens with marketing and design. And so here's how I think about a website in general is like, there's a person, he's looking, or a person, a man or a woman, and they're looking for something, and there's a next step that they want to make, right? And so the challenge is to identify who's the person, who are the different types of people coming to the site, what are the different things that they're looking for, and then like what's the next step that they want to make, like what's success for them, at least in the short term. And so what we do is we identify, who is that person, what are they looking for, what's the next step, and that kind of provokes the action or the conversion that you want to make. And so, our approach to website design is marketing first and design second. Mistake number 4, not getting a CMS. So what is a CMS? A CMS stands for Content Management System, and basically it's like a piece of software that you would use to manage the updating and editing of your website. And so that could be something like WordPress or Squarespace. There are a lot of different CMSs out there. But the one thing to note is that not all CMSs are the same, right? And so there's this concept in business called a phantom deliverable. And so a phantom deliverable is something that you as a business provide to your customer, but they're not really expecting it, or they don't really know that they should be expecting it. And so one of the phantom deliverables that we have in our company is just the back end of the site, because a lot of people don't even think about it. So, most people just think about the front end of how pretty their site is, but they don't realize like the back end could be very different depending on who's developing it. So you have like this thing here where you essentially just need to be a coder to be able to make any edits to the site, and that's enough to make you want to pull your hair out, versus, here's an example of a back end of the site where we did, where each little image or title or content description can be easily edited and updated just like you were, updating your Facebook profile. So when choosing a website designer, make sure to look under the hood of one of their existing sites. Ask if you can kind of look through an existing site, test out, see the back end of something that they've already done to make sure that what they've, the type of development work that they do is something that you're comfortable with. Mistake number 5, not doing your due diligence. So a couple things you want to do is just check out the person who you're thinking about working with. So some basics include, like, do they have any reviews? Those would be things like Yelp, Google reviews, or perhaps some recommendations on LinkedIn. And kind of going back to a previous thought is just like, do you like their work? Do you actually like the thing that they do? That's kind of the most important thing to think about when hiring a website designer, is the result. And then also, do you like their work on mobile? A lot of clients ask, hey, what's our site going to look like on mobile? I say, check out our portfolio on mobile, because that's going to be a pretty good indicator of what it might look like. And another thing you might want to do is, people typically list their best work on their portfolio. But if you want to see, like, their worst work, or all their work, you can do this little hack. What you can do is, at the bottom of every website that most designers build, they have a little signature that says, in our case, it says San Francisco Web Design by Thomas Digital, but typically it'll say, website by XYZ Media, etc. And so what you do is you just copy that piece of text that you see, go to google.com and put it in quotation marks. So put a quote first, that tagline, and then a quote, and then hit enter. And as you'll see here, it'll show you all the results for that search term. And so you'll be able to see all the sites developed by that company, even if they don't want you to see it on their portfolio. Mistake number 6, they don't practice what they preach. So just as you wouldn't trust an overweight personal trainer or a skinny chef, you should also probably not trust a designer with an ugly website, an SEO specialist who doesn't rank on Google, and an internet marketer who uses direct outreach to generate leads. And as a side note, we do rank number 1 on Google for San Francisco web design and hire a website designer. So if you've made it this far, then you're probably looking for a new website. And if that's the case, then I would like to make you an offer that you can't refuse. So we will make a free mock-up of your new website before you sign or pay for anything. And so what that means is you'll get a full, complete mock-up picture of what the new homepage of your website will look like. That will include the mock-up, a typography sheet, and color palette, completely custom done for you based on your needs and wants, for absolutely no cost, no obligation, nothing to sign, no credit card information taken. It's purely just, if you like it, great. If not, no worries. And so if that sounds like something that might be of interest to you, please listen on. So here's some examples of some of the work that we've done. And so here's the process. So step 1 is just fill out the contact form below. So please enter your information and fill out the contact form. After that contact form is submitted, we will schedule a call with you to learn more about your needs for the site. So on that site, it'll take about 15 to 30 minutes. We will learn more about your needs for the site, the scope of the project, your goals, kind of frustrations you have with your current site, things that you're looking for with your new one. And then once we have a full understanding of the scope of the project and your needs, then we will send you a proposal. Typically, we will have that proposal to you within 2 to 3 business days. And in that proposal, it will outline the budget, scope, timeline, everything included with the site. And if that proposal works for you, you don't have to sign or pay for anything, but we would work with you just like you were our client. I'll then send you a link to a website questionnaire, other websites you like the look and feel of, that kind of thing. And then once you complete the questionnaire and send it back to us, we'll put together a mock-up for the homepage of the new site. A mock-up is just a picture of what the new site would look like. Typically, you'll get that within 3 to 4 business days. And then once you receive the mock-up, if you like it and want to move forward, we would do so at the terms outlined in the proposal. And if not, then there's no hard feelings and no further obligations. The only thing that we ask is that you just please don't use our design. So if that sounds like something you might be interested in, please fill out the contact form below to get started and to schedule a call. I look forward to hearing from you.